So during my PhD, the more that I tried to optimize stuff, the more scattered, the more overwhelmed would I feel. And when I started to think a little bit, why is that the case? And the reason is quite simple, because I was so overwhelmed and so stressed about all the deadlines and all the should have done or should do things on the to-do list that I couldn't even properly make sense of the things that I was doing. And I feel that this is not talked about that much, because when people think and people say, oh, doing a PhD is hard, they never mention what they mean by hard. Like, sure, research is hard per se because you're doing something new that no one ever did before you. But this part of hard, of how do I make sure that everything flows, it's like fighting a battle you cannot win by definition, because you are constantly searching for something new, and at the same time you are addressing all of those things like deadlines, conferences, papers, drafts, and so on. So from my experience, what happened is that I would get so caught into this vicious cycle of doing things and checking things off of my to-do list that I would actually not spend any time on the thinking process while doing research. And sure, I wasn't doing things just for the sake of doing it, but at some point it felt that I sort of lost that sense of, okay, why am I even doing this? So I had this to-do list of things that should be done in one day or 1 week or 1 month. And if I didn't check off all the things, I would feel like a failure. And spoiler alert, I almost never checked all the things from the to-do list, because they were always like, the moment you felt that you are going to get it done, something else would fall on my plate. And then I would say, okay, when I do this, I will rest. When I do this, I will think about my research. When I do this, I will organize my notes. Spoiler alert again, that moment never came, and I was always in that situation where I would need to choose between doing research and thinking and checking things off of my to-do list. And don't get me wrong, those two things would sometimes be the same thing, like fitting the models, analyzing data. That is part of the research. But I think that it's much, at least from my experience, it was much harder to think about what analysis should be done. Get the idea of what I want to do is much harder than actually doing it, because the execution part can be time consuming, but it's more straightforward. The problem comes when you are lost in this sense of emptiness of, why am I even doing this? Does this even have any sense? And again, as I said, the more I try to optimize my schedule and my to-do lists and my organization of all of that, the more I felt that I lacked the time to actually think, to actually process, and to be there with my research. And this resulted in me not knowing what to do next, in doing stuff just out of panic, like I am supposed to do something, so I better do something than nothing, and then this endless loops of procrastination and so on, which I believe now are all a result of just not allocating not time or tasks in a proper way, but not allocating my mental load in the proper way. Because sometimes you feel that your mind is so cluttered that you cannot even sense what is the next step that you should take. And I was there, many of my clients that I helped were there in that situation of not knowing what are they even supposed to do next. And still nowadays they have defended their thesis, they have submitted their papers. And bottom line of this is that I want to tell you that there is a way out. There is a way out of that situation. You do not have to be there in your despair all alone with your research. You can share it with others. People are in general more than happy to help, especially if they are from the same field. And I want to tell you that if this is you, if you feel that you don't know what is your next step, if you feel that your research is a mess, if you feel that you have to start writing your thesis but you don't know even where to start from, if your to-do list is endless and every time you check one thing off, 5 more things appear, I want to invite you to schedule a completely free introductory coaching call with me. I will leave a link down below in the description where you can schedule it and where we can discuss exactly that. Your research, your current challenges, what are the things that you are missing in order to complete that paper, that thesis, or that research project. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it useful and relatable, and as always, see you in the next few days with another video. Bye bye.